Hey everyone, this is Alex with Influenced LA, and this is our official AEW Grand Slam 2023 review. This, of course, is one of the biggest dynamites all year for AEW, and a lot happened on the show. So we're going to get right into it, starting at the top, where we had Eddie Kingston challenging for the Ring of Honor World Championship with Claudio Castagnoli. This, of course, is a rivalry that has been about 15-20 years in the making. This dates all the way back to their days on the indie scenes before either one of them were a household name, anything like that. Of course, Eddie has been wanting respect from Claudio that he feels he has not gotten from him all these years. He wanted to win the championship in his hometown in New York and get a handshake, and that's exactly what happened. Eddie Kingston had his moment to open up the show in his hometown of New York. He won the Ring of Honor World Championship. It was a great sight. Definitely recommend checking out the highlights if you guys get a chance. It's on YouTube now. Moving on into the second match, we had Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara. Of course, Chris Jericho has been Sammy Guevara's mentor ever since day one in AEW. Sammy Guevara, of course, is the protege that is supposed to kind of be the heir apparent of like the next Chris Jericho in a way of the in-ring ability and what he brings to the table. Of course, his charisma and mic skills aren't exactly there yet, but that doesn't mean he can't get there one day. And of course, being under the tutelage of Chris Jericho and the mentorship of him for the past couple of years has drastically and just enormously increased Sammy Guevara's star power and just overall drawing. I feel Sammy's definitely a bigger household name than he was a couple of years ago. So this was definitely a cool little match to have. It of course started out right from the jump with Sammy Guevara wearing the same colored themed gear that Chris Jericho wore at his with his match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19. So of course there was a little bit of teasing that there might be something more going on in this match, and that's exactly what happened. Because as we neared the end of this match, Sammy Guevara took a huge chance, missed, and then Chris Jericho took advantage and got the win. So Chris Jericho actually ended up beating Sammy Guevara and won the match. However, as they were embracing each other after the match and everything seemed good, Sammy Guevara ended up turning on Chris Jericho, kicking him, giving him the low blow, very similar, almost a spitting image of exactly what happened at WrestleMania 19 when Jericho did the exact same to Shawn Michaels after their match. So of course now this, and then Sammy Guevara face-palmed him away, and this of course now leads to Sammy Guevara and Jericho being officially split as Don Callis came out, and Don Callis stood next to Sammy Guevara, and this obviously implied now that Sammy Guevara has joined the Don Callis family. So now we have Konosuke Takeshita and Sammy Guevara in the Don Callis family. It'll be interesting to see how we proceed forward now. Danny Garcia, of course, confronted Sammy Guevara backstage. Callis told him to hold off those, so we're going to eventually see them either square off or unite, and maybe Danny Garcia becomes part of the Don Callis family. But moving on to the third match, this is where things got a little bit scarier and took a little bit of a weird turn for the night, as we had Jon Moxley defend the AEW International Championship against Rey Fenix. This match started with a little brawl on the outside where Jon Moxley actually was hurt during this match, and it actually took place during the pre-match brawl. He ended up getting a concussion. It was the official word coming out of the show last night is Jon Moxley got a concussion. Now, a lot of people are attributing it to the end of the match where he was driven twice down on his skull. However, this wasn't the case, as Jon Moxley actually received the concussion in the pre-match brawl. So he ended up wrestling that entire match while potentially being concussed. Apparently the instructions were relayed to the referee to end the match on that first pinfall. Of course, there was obviously miscommunication of some sorts between them, as Rick Knox, in an awkward move, ended up not counting the 3 count after the first finisher. Rey Fenix then picked up Moxley and delivered the second one. It was very tough to watch as a wrestling fan or just a casual viewer because you didn't exactly know what was going on. Unfortunately though, or fortunately I should say, everyone ended up walking away at least under their own power, and Jon Moxley, as of right now, it appears it's only a concussion, nothing more serious than that. So we send our thoughts and condolences and our deepest prayers with Jon Moxley. Hopefully he recovers, wishing him a speedy recovery. And now Rey Fenix is officially the new AEW International Championship. Of course, Moxley was not supposed to lose the championship in that match, but as the injury took place, obviously an audible was called mid-match. So moving forward, we'll see how Rey Fenix does as the AEW International Championship. Good spotlight for him. And then moving forward, we did have the AEW Women's championship match as Saraya defended against Toni Storm. This match was a decent little match, nothing crazy to write home about or anything like that. Obviously, Toni Storm's character is drastically improved and become one of the more highlights of the entire women's division. Saraya still slowly kind of proving herself as now the new AEW Women's Champion. This match honestly was probably the weakest one on the entire card. We ended up seeing Saraya retain her championship, so we'll end up seeing how the storyline kind of further progresses along there. But yeah, nothing crazy to write home about there. And then moving on into the main event, we of course had MJF, the hometown kid, defending his AEW World Championship against Samoa Joe. This of course has been brewing for about 5-6 years, ever since Samoa Joe shoved MJF back in the NXT days when MJF was security for Samoa Joe. So this was definitely like a really good old style classic mixed with a little bit of new school physicality wrestling match. Definitely something you guys can check out online. MJF, of course, ended up retaining. He ended up choking out Samoa Joe, just like he said he would. And he even ended up getting Samoa Joe's respect after the match. Of course, there was a little bit of nefarious means, and MJF needed Adam Cole's assistance to retain the championship. But at the end of the day, MJF is still the AEW World Champion. However, in this match, when Adam Cole ran down to help MJF and assist him in the match, he ended up running down the ramp and jumped off onto the floor, and then he was limping the rest of the time. So definitely something bad happened there. And as it turns out, the reports came out later that he was indeed taken to the hospital and he left on crutches. So Adam Cole is officially, at this point, injured. We don't know the full severity of it, but he is on crutches. Something to keep an eye out for, as we do have Wrestle Dream coming up October 1st, a week from Sunday. And they are supposed to defend the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. That's Adam Cole and MJF are supposed to defend those championships against the winner of the #1 contenders match. So we will see if that ends up still happening, how they're going to maneuver around that, if Adam Cole is injured, if he is, how long. So we'll have to wait and kind of just see how everything plays out there, guys. But yeah, what were your guys' thoughts on AEW Grand Slam? I thought it was a good show. Not as good as maybe the first one that they did 2 years ago, but I thought it was a little bit better than last year's show. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the week shakes out for AEW Grand Slam. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on everything AEW Grand Slam, how you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you leave a like on this video. And we got more videos coming this weekend. We're going to have a huge State of Wrestling episode coming, and we're going to be talking about all the WWE budget cuts that happened this week, as well as Roman Reigns versus The Rock for WrestleMania 40. Is it the right time? Is it the right match? We're going to go over all that and more on the channel here, so subscribe so you don't miss out, and we'll catch you on the next video. All right.